Hello everyone, BigDos is here and welcome to another video. In this video we're gonna look at a Mist of Tirna Scithe plus 17 I did earlier as a Beast Mastery Hunter. The affixes for this run are Spiteful and Necrotic, and of course it's encrypted now. And yeah, we're gonna see how the run goes, and I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks on how I play this, and perhaps there's something that helps you out. So yeah, first off we're gonna do a woe skip that we called on right before the pool. Of course this is a pug run, so yeah, I'm playing with all people I don't know. But we called that we would skip like a part of this dungeon by going for the movement one, the woe drifter. And what you saw me do at the start of the pool was not instantly burst with everything I got. I waited and made sure I got like one kill command, maybe one barbed shot in onto the woe drifter before we actually did the rest of the pull, before we started bursting. That way I made sure that we actually would have gotten that one, and not like for example, or Vi. Here I dismiss my pets because I just too many times it happens that my pets start pulling. I don't know why it keeps happening for me. Last I did the other side, and suddenly I pulled like half the dungeon because my pets were dragging people in. So that was pretty shitty. So yeah, of course this is boss week, so the trash is not that hard. And we have a very strong warlock and a very strong, I think it's a fury warrior, that both really are pumping out quite a lot of damage. I'm running with a 2 set in this run. I'm playing a Scithe, and so that's why I'm also opening this one. So the tank can drag the mobs in here and already collect. Sorry about that. The tank can already collect his mushroom. We're not really doing that, but yeah. We're still taking the one over there. So I'm walking a little bit back, that way the other DPS don't have to walk that far. But yeah. And now we're gonna go on to the next pool. This pool in mob week, you would really want this pool to stagger their HP. We are currently like just bursting both of them down, which is not all that great, but yeah. It's mob week, so, or boss week, so it is fine. I Hunter's Mark one because I do want to reduce the damage of one of them for the trash, and because I'm running with a conduit, which when you use Feign Death and when you use Hunter's Mark, both of them reduce the total damage. And at this point I think with 265 conduits, I think I'm reducing almost 20 to 22% of the incoming damage with Hunter's Mark and Feign Death, so it is quite significant, especially because we are very squishy. So yeah. Besides that, what I'm trying to do all the time is make sure that you use your barbed shot on different targets, so that's pretty important as well. Alright, for this one, at the start of the pool, Ingram Malik does not actually have a damage reduction. So at this point, before I think he does his Forced Complaint, what he's casting now, oh no, not yet even, he still takes like normal damage. So you might want to make sure that you dot him up, make sure that you actually hit him already. Besides that, and this is a bug, which makes it all the more difficult, but actually what you really want to do if you're with a coordinated grip is you want to kill the at the moment that the Dromon Olforan, the big guy, goes down. Because then you have 10 seconds of with 10 seconds of increased cooldown reduction while you're in the burn phase of Ingram Malik. That would be ideal, but that never really happens. So yeah, besides that, try and use your kick for Ingram Malik. I'm the one responsible for Lust here. I could have used it maybe a fraction earlier, but yeah, it's fine. We are running the 2 set for Beast Mastery Hunter, and so we have 45% increased crit on our kill command as long as we have at least 3 stacks of Frenzy, which is fairly easy to keep up. So yeah, As you could see there, I was pumping out quite a lot of critting kill commands. For the talent, I'm still using the one where my pets gain increased damage, and I'm not using the one where you Cobra Shot kill command, because I have been trying that out. I don't really feel that it is better at the moment with only the 2 set. I still am hoping for a 4 set, of course, but yeah, that is not really happening right now. Here I knew the fear was come in, and I didn't want to be inside of all the blue junk on the ground. That's why I used my soul shape to make sure that I got out of there. Yeah, so that is something that you can do. Besides that, if this is something that you like, this guide is gonna help you in any way, shape or form, then consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. That helps me out a ton and would be greatly appreciated. So as you can see there, my kill commands are critting for like 17k, and then both pets are doing it, so it's like one ability 34k crits. It's amazing, so really make sure that you are onto that, and that you have Bestial Wrath for the burn phase of Ingram Malik, because then your crits will deal even more damage. At the start of the run, our Warlock called out that he would pull the pets, or pull the mobs on the right side of the dungeon, and so he's gonna do that, and I don't really have to send my pets over there, which is nice, because it allows me to actually still deal some damage here. For our legendary, of course, we are running with Rylaks Stalker's Piercing Fangs. So yeah, that is something that yeah, it's just, I would say for Beast Mastery Hunter, it's a mandatory legendary, especially when the sets come in, especially the 2 set. Then you are critting a lot more with your kill command, and you want those crits to just simply hit a lot harder. So yeah. At this point, I noticed, well, not really at this point, but soon I'm gonna notice that our group is not really paying attention to where we're going, and I see the healer walking around, like, checking which door we need to go through. And I should have paid attention at the start, of course, because I was not paying attention where the Mist Caller flied. Luckily, the Druid tank did, and so from here on out, I decided to help the healer, and I'm gonna just walk around, and of course I'm still going to do DPS, but like pay a little less attention to it and just start walking around the perimeter and making sure that I can see which one where we need to go, and that way, as you can see, I call out to the party, and that way we can speed this up. Because if you have no one in the party who is paying attention to this, then this can take so much more time. So here I am, I'm checking, it's a full flower, so I'm just gonna slowly walk my way around and make sure that I see which is which, and that way I can call that out and improve the speed of the dungeon. So I will deal a little less damage, but overall I think I will definitely speed up the dungeon, all in all. And I think if you are Beast Mastery Hunter, then you should actually do that. As Marksman, I think you can do it as well, although I'm just not really good at Marksman yet. So it is something that I don't know if you... I think you have the time, I'm not sure. As a Survival Hunter, it's, yeah, you're gonna stay in melee. You're not gonna run around checking these things. Here I have all my cooldowns, and so I decide to not look around, because in the cooldown window I actually want to pay attention to my burst and make sure that I clear these mobs fairly quickly. So yeah, now it's the healer's time, and I don't understand. Now, for example, our healer was standing still for quite a bit, and everyone was stopped off, and the enemies were bursting down really quickly. So there was not really any reason to, you know, not check where we needed to go. And as you can see now, This took quite some time, and we were all just standing there. And it can be so much quicker. And luckily this time, people were actually standing at least at one of those pillars, because I have so many times where I'm doing this dungeon and then I'm either not paying attention enough, or I don't know where to go, or I have not checked it, and people are just standing in the middle of the room waiting for someone else to call where to go, and they don't do it. They don't pay attention to it, they don't care. And yeah, I think that's quite a waste of time. So yeah, here I'm checking again, because I am still a man, and I do have difficulty with like doing two things at the same time. So yeah, that is sometimes you have to recheck. This was very dumb of me, and I was very, very lucky that I was not actually dying there. If this was mob week, then I would have died there, and it would be really dumb, and luckily I did not. So yeah. And if you are fast enough, then you can walk actually through the wall before the Spiteful entirely spawns, because if the Spiteful spawns before that time, then you will have to kill it before you can go through the wall. So that is something that I actually could improve, because I knew which wall we needed to go through the entire time. So what I could have been doing was already standing next to that wall and just move through. And I did not do that earlier. So looking back at this, that is something that I actually could have done. Here I was in my burst window, so I was not busy with standing at the right pillars. And I'm gonna just stand there. Then people will look, and that's the downside. I should have maybe called that I did not know, because people were all walking towards mine, like I knew what I was doing. But yeah, and here we go into the next fight, which is not really I don't really enjoy this fight all that much. It's not too bad. And here you can do a lot as Beastmastery as well, or as any hunter spec, to be honest. You can, when he spawns the fox, you can use your frost trap to make sure that you catch it. And this is something you can see now. I can't do kill commands right now, and that's because my pets are frozen. This is something which is, I think, the downside of Beastmastery Hunter. Our damage comes from our pets for most of the time. And so if someone gets like trapped in ice, then you suddenly lose all your damage because your pets may be close to them, and yeah, you lose that as well. The Vulpin there, I tried to trap, but the Ashen Hallow was on the ground still. So yeah, it's like the only empty one. And there, luckily it doesn't happen all that often to me, but it sometimes does. I forgot. Now watching it back like really saddens me again, because there goes my burst window. My Wild Spirits is up on the wall. Does that happen to you guys a lot as well? I remember back in I want to say Tol Barad, I don't know, the prison dungeon in the previous expansion. You guys know which I'm talking about? Tol Dagor, I think it's Tol Dagor that's called. That dungeon, it was terrible with all these nooks and crannies, and then if you wanted to use like a target ability, then yeah, it was always such a shit show. And sometimes this dungeon feels like that as well, especially yeah, in those kind of situations. On the other hand, it also happens a lot to me in Spires of Ascension on the last boss with the wings, the angelic wings. They come into your screen and suddenly you're popping your wild spirits over there as well. So yeah, that's the stuff that happens to me sometimes. Probably happens to you guys as well. If so, let me know. There our healer died because the fox just straight up ran into him and he just, yeah, died. Luckily we have a combat rest. If we did not have a combat rest, then it would have been GG. But yeah, that's why having a combat rest in your party is actually quite nice. And here we go, we trap it and someone breaks it. And so we just, you know, use a slow trap to at least slow it again. But yeah. So guys, if you are still watching this and you like the content that I'm making, then consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I want to thank you guys so much for all the support that I'm getting. I'm currently almost at 1,000 subs, which was my goal for, I think it's June or July even. I was thinking about, you know, hoping to achieve it by then, because then I would have been making content on YouTube for a year now. So yeah, that would have been great, but well, earlier is even better. So I want to thank you so much for all your support. I'm very happy with it. Alright, so that was Mistcaller. We have almost 14 minutes left, a little less, and we need 40% count. So far it's growing pretty decently. I always find it difficult to know how much time it takes to do this boss and then the last boss, and so yeah, sometimes I find that difficult, but yeah, we're doing it all right. Here I've seen also groups skip this pack. I don't exactly know why, because here you can just get or yeah, is pretty nice here, although usually dies about the same time as when the pack dies, so you could also go for Vi. So yeah. And here is something that I tried to call out, and luckily the tank paid attention to that, is we are very low on interrupts. We only have the warrior, the druid, and me. Warlocks don't bring an interrupt or something. I don't know. I could have sworn I saw a warlock bring an interrupt once, so part of me thinks that they actually do have an interrupt, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure there. Here I'm waiting for my pets, which is annoying. I should like pay attention to that, because if I'm like hitting a spiteful, then my pets suddenly are fighting the spiteful in the back. So yeah. And here, so if you do like a double staghorn pull, coming back to my point earlier, if you're doing a double staghorn pull and you are so low on interrupts, then that way it is very difficult to actually clear it, because they get a lot of shields or healing, and it's kind of annoying. So as you will have seen just now, and we'll see very shortly after, I think, as well, is you can actually remove that shield with your tranquilizing shot. And that is something that you should actually really do, and remove it from a priority target. So I would almost always suggest just remove it from the staghorn itself. That way then you can easily kill the staghorn, and that way you can't get like a second rotation of shields off, for example. As you can see, there it goes. And now I'm using my tranquilizing shot, I think. There it is, yeah. And now the shield is gone. And so we can continue cleaving the staghorn. There, our tank was really lucky that he managed to fall onto the next platform instead of just falling off entirely. If he would have fallen off, I would have just used binding shot, then used my trap, my tar trap, and we just guided it out until the tank would reach us again. Here I think he actually can do a double pull, but he's cautious right now, and so we're doing this like a single pull, and that's fine. You don't want to really do this too much, because we don't have that much time to spare. But yeah, that's something that the tank chose to do. And of course it's necrotic, so I don't know how hard the necrotic stacks would have like stacked up. Yeah, something like that. So yeah. So far the pool is going great. he said, almost dying. But yeah, so far it's pretty good, pretty smooth bug run. Not all my runs go like this. And now I noticed that we have still 4 minutes on our Bloodlust. And so that's why I called to do the rest of the trash, the rest of the count first. Because that way we can use Bloodlust during the fight. And yeah, that is something you want to use as many Bloodlust as you can in a dungeon run. Usually you want Bloodlust on pool. But yeah, sometimes the pool is just not worthy. And in this dungeon, you really want Bloodlust on the first boss. And there's just not that much count to gain before the first boss. So you're not going to be like 10 minutes before the first boss unless you decide to skip this entire part of the dungeon and just go and do a lot of the trash at the start of the boss, or at the start of the dungeon, do a lot of the trash and then use like maybe a woe skip and skip all this until this boss, which you could do. I don't know if people are doing that. I've never done it before. Here what I'm trying to do is make sure that I at least use my barb shot on as many targets as I can. That way the bleed keeps running on as many targets as well, which is fairly nice. And we can burst this back down or remove it fairly easily. I was doubting if I should have used my cooldowns there, because we're going into a boss fight right now, but this boss fight is fairly long as it is. And we're gonna go for an probably, so I would gain my cooldowns fairly quickly as well. So that's why I still decided to use it instead of like sitting on it for too long. Here, very careful of the parasitic mind control thingy, because not many people can actually interrupt it, so I really have to pay attention to that. So yeah, this is most of the run. Our healer is gonna struggle on this a bit, like making some minor mistakes. On the consumption part, usually you do not want to kick that, or at least my experience is that you do not actually want to kick that, because it takes like longer where he is not like hitting the tank. That was maybe not a nice call of me to shout to the healer that he should focus up, but he died already. I think he died a second time already in this fight, or he died first one time in this fight, and the previous fight he also died as well in the Mist Caller. And like, this is only gonna go wrong if the people keep dying, and especially when the healer keeps dying. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't have called out that he should focus, but yeah, I still did, which was maybe not nice, but yeah. But going back to my point, is you don't really want to kick the consumption, I think, because that way he is just busy with casting and you can just dodge. Although maybe for melee it's more difficult. I've not really played this dungeon too much as a survival yet, so I'm not actually sure. But guys, if you like this video and you watched it almost all the way to the end, then consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a ton. If you have feedback for me, things that you think I should change, things that I do good and which I could continue on doing, or things that I should definitely stop doing, for example using my sound here again, then let me know in the comment sections below. it helps me out a ton. Here's it's getting a bit hairy as well, so I just turtle and run my way through, because our healer sadly died again. But luckily we managed to clear it off. Our tank is very tanky, and so we managed to clear it. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.